In Mythic Plus, communication is often the difference between timing and bricking a key. But the problem is, WoW doesn't really give a fast way to make important calls mid-pull. If you need an external, if you have damage cooldowns, if you need healing, if you're handling the next mechanic, typing that out mid-combat is just not realistic. That's why most serious groups use Discord. It's fast, reliable, and lets people communicate instantly. But I wanted to see if I could build something that gives players at least part of that functionality in-game, especially for groups that are not in voice or just pugging. So I made Clever Callouts, a simple add-on that lets you bind important callouts and use them mid-combat while in Mythic Plus. The problem we're trying to solve is pretty simple. It's hard to communicate with your party in real time unless you're in Discord. Have you ever actually tried to type out something mid-pack? If you're the healer and a massive AoE is about to hit, what do you do if you need everyone to press defensive? By the time you type it, press enter, and then hope that people read it, the damage has already gone out, and now you're scrambling just to keep everyone alive. Or what if it's the opposite? What if you have a healing cooldown ready, and you want everyone to save their defensives? If you stop to type that out, you've just wasted multiple globals of the cooldown that you are hoping to use to cover that damage event. Now, the ping system does exist, and it's genuinely useful, but there are plenty of situations where a ping doesn't properly communicate enough information. Or it's ambiguous enough that people need to spend precious seconds working out exactly what the person meant by it. So what we need instead is a quick and clear way of communicating important information mid-combat that is basically unmistakable to everybody in the group. This is where Clever Callouts comes in. You can install it through CurseForge. I'll leave a link in the description below. Once it's installed, you can open up the interface by either typing /clever in the chat box or by clicking the minimap icon. At the moment, the add-on gives 4 callout slots. Each slot can be assigned a message, a keybind, and then an optional self-ping. There are some that are more general purpose for every role. So we've got, I need healing, no defensives, need external, I have damage cooldowns, and I'll handle the next mechanic. I've also added 2 healer-focused options. First being, I have healing, save defensives, and the second, no heal CDs, use defensives. Setting it up is pretty simple. You choose the callout you want, you click the keybind box, and then you press whatever key combination you want to use for the bind. So if I clear this one here and click it again, I can set it to Shift 7. Then if you want, you can attach a ping to the callout. This includes all 4 of the pings, so assist, warning, attack, or on my way, or you can just leave this blank if you just want the chat message alone. At the moment, the add-on only has these fixed preset callouts. If people think that custom callouts would be useful, let me know in the comments, because it's definitely something that I can look to add. And before I get a handful of commenters with anime profile pictures losing their marbles, yes, this was vibe coded with AI. No, I'm not ashamed of that. AI is sick, and this add-on wouldn't exist without it, because I cannot code. So, if you have strong opinions about this, please direct them to the nearest wall. Before releasing this to the public, I wanted to give it a test run in this 21 Magistus Terrace, and I've pulled out a few spots where I think its usefulness is illustrated well. On the first boss, the Demon Hunter soaked the orbs on the first round of the intermission. Since I can AMS these soaks and avoid taking any debuff, I pressed the I'll handle next mechanic button. From that point onwards, the Demon Hunter let me soak everything. In this area here, we're going into the big lust pull. While it might be obvious that we're about to do a jumbo pull, there is a damage amp crystal here. So specifically letting the Demon Hunter know that I have damage cooldowns and that he doesn't need to take the crystal is a pretty big time save. Here's also a good example of where the add-on would have been useful if the healer had it. I didn't even see this at the time, but the healer typed no link in party chat. Since party messages alone can be pretty easy to miss mid-combat, having the add-on set up with a self-ping and then the no CDs use defensives callout would have made it much harder for me to miss. It also means that he wouldn't have had to have stopped to type, which potentially keeps more healing up time for him. Because I didn't see this message, I died in this pull when I probably could have lived if I had have known. This section here is another example where I pinged that I had offensive cooldowns. Since this is a weird paddy pack, it's pretty likely that only one of us would want to send our cooldowns on it. So coordinating to make sure that one of us keeps our cooldowns for the next pack is probably a good idea from a time-saving point of view. And then on the last boss, I was a little too locked in here and sort of forgot to press the buttons, but there were a couple of times where I was death striking while I had the debuff and the ball mechanic at the same time. Pinging for an external or additional healing with the add-on macros would have been a really good use here. I just need to get into the habit of pressing these buttons now. As I mentioned earlier, the add-on is available to install through CurseForge. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment below. I'm also very open to suggestions. If you have any features that you think could be added or anything obvious that I might have missed, let me know in the comments section. Just bear in mind that I'm not a proper add-on developer. This was written with the help of AI, so any really complicated things may be outside of what I can actually handle at the moment. Suggest them anyway, because even if I can't add something immediately, it still helps to understand what other people would find useful in this add-on. On further reflection, I think an update will probably come pretty quickly that will allow for custom chat messages. I was initially wary of adding this because I didn't want people to use it to like spam profanities or anything dumb like that. Realistically though, I think anyone who wants to do that can just make a macro themselves anyway, so the added flexibility of custom messages probably doesn't have much of a downside. As a side note, the Resilient Bounty competition that I ran in my Discord server finished over the weekend with nearly 3.4 million gold in prizes. This is something that I will repeat down the track. The channels where people can ask for assistance with different keys are still present in my Discord server and will remain permanent, with rotating Resilient Bounty events at multiple points throughout the season. A massive thanks to my channel members and Buy Me a Coffee supporters. The Joy of Checks, Tobias, Yalem, and Is This Real at the Keystone Legend tier, as well as everyone else who appears on the end screen. If you'd like to support the channel, you can either click the join button below the video or follow the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. And lastly, thank you to you, the viewer, for hanging out all the way until the end. See you all in Azeroth, gamers. Until next time, take care.